We want to get to an investigation underway right now in New Britain.
Yeah, police say an officer shot someone running away from them.
That person was wanted in connection with shots fired earlier in the day. Pinpoint News Tracker taking you to that location near Herald Square, about a mile from where the shots rang out on Union Street. Your reporter Anna Stansfield is live outside the police department with what we know right now.
Well, guys, state police and the inspector general have now taken over this investigation, and at this point, they're still releasing very little details about what happened here in New Britain yesterday. But we do know they were out at the scene for hours last night, combing through evidence. After a shots fired incident in New Britain earlier in the day, police started looking for suspects. Around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, they found someone who fit the description of the person they were looking for walking with someone else. That's when officers tried to stop the two men, but they ran off. As police chased after them, an officer shot towards the suspects, hitting one of them. We're told they have been taken to the hospital. Investigators say after the shooting, a firearm was found near one of the people involved, and another gun was taken from the second person after he was taken into custody. Now, no one else was hurt in yesterday's shooting, and this morning, as the investigation continues here in New Britain, we still have several questions for both state police and the inspector general. As soon as we get more information into our newsroom, you'll hear that very latest information both on air and on the WFSB app. For now, though, I'm your reporter live in New Britain, Anna Stansfield, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Anna, thank you.